What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson. Thank you for tuning in to The Run. However you're listening, whether it's the podcast version on Spotify, a podcast version on iTunes or iPodcast, however you're listening, I appreciate it. But I want to get straight into this NBA Finals topic. The finals are finally here. And before I get into this topic, be sure to follow me on Twitter at I am Manny Wilson. Let's talk about sports. Go ahead, holler at me. Let me know what's going on. Give me feedback about the podcast. Let's talk about sports. So anyway, let's get into the topic of the 2019 NBA Finals. It's about time. Some people wonder if the Warriors are going to win. Some people wonder if the Toronto Raptors are going to win. Personally, I hope the Toronto Raptors win. But the main question today is which franchise is facing more pressure? Is it the Toronto Raptors, because this is their first time being here? They have Kawhi Leonard. They want him to stay in free agency. Or is it the Golden State Warriors? The almost perfect team that they've been playing great. They've won. I mean, nobody expects them to lose. So which team has more pressure? If you ask me, it's the Golden State Warriors without a doubt. Without a doubt. And the answer is simple. It's simply because this team is on the verge of three-peating. This dynasty is on the verge of three-peating. Every franchise who've ever three-peated, they've always been looked at as one of the best dynasties or one of the best teams of that era or in general. When you look at the Bulls in 90, 91, 92, and 93, that was the first three-peat with Jordan. 96, 97, 98. So Jordan and the Bulls did it twice. So that already puts that dynasty at a pedestal, as in they are the greatest dynasty to ever play basketball in the NBA. That's the best team to do it. During that time period of the 90s, the Bulls had it on lock. That's the stigma. That's the stigma. And even when you look at Shaq and Kobe in 2000, 2001, 2002, that team right there is also held to almost just as high of a standard as the Bulls, but they didn't do it twice. Shaq left, things didn't get done that way. So they're still held to a high standard because they're one of the few teams, or one of the three teams, because it's only been three teams that's ever three-peated in the NBA. So the Lakers are one of the three teams that's ever three-peated in the NBA. So they are held to another high standard up there with the Bulls. They're in that category. Now, as far as the Celtics, I don't really like to say they've three-peated because they should be in a category of their own. With Bill Russell, what he did with the Celtics, that's an entire different category. This man, he won 8 championships in a row. That's a distinct category of its own right there. That's not even in the three-peat category, because this man almost three-peated 3 times in a row. And that's just ridiculous. That's in a different story of its own. But as far as the Warriors, and this dynasty goes, they have more pressure because not only are they on the verge of facing a three-peat, to become a discussion with who are some of the best dynasties in the league, because right now we know they're a great team. We know they have great players. We know this is one of the best dynasties in the league, but they don't really have, they have the players and they have the people who've watched to tell it, but they don't have that history or that engravement of solidification that shows that they were the best dynasty, or they were one of the best dynasties to ever play the game, because they have not three-peated. The chance they could have three-peated, but somebody blew a 3-1 lead in the NBA Finals at the biggest stage of basketball. They blew a 3-1 lead, and that did not help them. And personally, not only do I think that the Toronto Raptors can stop them from three-peating, but Kawhi has done it before. He stopped another team who was another great dynasty in the NBA. He stopped that team from three-peating. So that's why they're not in the discussion. And that's why they're not in the history books of being one of the best dynasties that has ever three-peated, because Kawhi stopped them. Kawhi didn't let it happen. Remember 2014 with LeBron James, D Wade, and Chris Bosh? They went to the finals. They had great players. Their team was better. Yeah, that's arguable. I give you that. That's arguable. But they had more stars. They had better stars. People said the Spurs were washed up, old. And, the basic things that the Spurs get with Greg Popovich when Timmy D was there and stuff like that. The basic things. Oh, the Spurs were old. They bones broken down. They can't get it done. LeBron is fresh. D Wade is fresh. He's new. LeBron is the best player on the planet. Those type of things were going on. They had Chris Bosh, a whole bunch of other shooters around them. Things like that was going on. So nobody really expected the Spurs to take that championship. But somehow they did it. They did it. And Kawhi Leonard was on that team, and he had a hell of an impact on why the Miami Heat did not win that finals. Here we go again. In today's era of 2019, people think Kawhi is beat down right now. He is playing injured. But he's been playing through it, and you really can't tell if you just been watching him. You can't really tell that he's been injured if you're just watching him. Unless you see him limp or something like that, obviously. But if he's not limping, you can't really tell that he's been hurt, especially if you look at the numbers. If you're not watching the game and you look at the numbers, you really can't tell that he's hurt. But anyway, Warriors have an advantage of superstars on our team. They have Kevin Durant, Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson. They have much more fame on that team. They've been perfect all the time. They're known for being excellent. Their nickname is the Dubs. Are you serious? Their nickname is the Dubs. So they're known for being perfect. They've had plenty of rest. This is where all that pressure comes from. Where everybody expects the Warriors to win. So Toronto has to. I know they're the underdogs. I didn't see the odds yet to solidify it, but I know they're the underdogs. And you know it. You just got to know it because everybody's going for the Warriors. Their bandwagon has grown to be out of control. I don't know what the hell Warriors fans is doing down in Detroit. I really don't. Come on, man. We all supposed to be repping the Pistons down here in Detroit. I know we got put out early, but I don't know why Warriors fans is down here in Detroit. That's not come on, man. Their bandwagon has grown to be out of control. They have Kevin Durant, somebody who's the best player in the world right now, the best player of a new era that's about to start. When you look back to Miami with LeBron, everybody said the same thing about LeBron. He's the best player in the world. He's the best player of this era, things like that. But somehow Kawhi Leonard ended up stopping all of that, and they got the championship, and they won. Kevin Durant, Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Boogie Cousins. The list goes on. Andrew Iguodala, he's been amazing. I know he's not a superstar like everybody else, but that dude is a factor on the team. I don't know if you watch the games, but that dude is a factor on the team. But they face so much pressure because they have all of these superstars. And everybody expects them to already win. And God forbid, or actually, hopefully, I hope this happens. I hope Kevin Durant and Boogie Cousins return because now they have a healthy team. So that builds on to the excuse that the Warriors, if they lose, they're gonna get as much backlash as they did when they blew that 3-1 lead. Maybe not as much, but they're going to get a lot of backlash if they have a full healthy team and lose against this Toronto Raptors team with only one star, which is Kawhi Leonard. But the Warriors, they got the better team on paper, clearly. With all those superstars, they had plenty of time to rest before this series even started. So that's going to be looked at as something why the Warriors should also win. They have much more experience than the Toronto Raptors team as a whole. I think just about 4 players on the Warriors team have more experience than the Toronto Raptors as a whole in terms of being in the finals. And everything is lining up to build more pressure and more pressure on the Warriors. And I love it. I really do. Because it all the pressure that's building up on the Warriors of why they should win the series is just letting the underdogs lay back and lay calm. It's letting the silent killer do what he does best. Kill silently. It's letting him do exactly what he does best. And Kawhi Leonard, I think he's been doubted a lot throughout the playoffs. I don't think people thought he was going to get. He's had a hell of a road throughout the East, man. I want to acknowledge that right now. He's had a hell of a road through the East. He had to go through Philly, had to go through Milwaukee. He sent both of them home, and now he got to go play the Warriors. So it's tough. It was tough. It was a tough road for Kawhi Leonard. Also they played more games than the Warriors, so now they're kind of rolling. They're kind of rolling. That rest time that we brought up, some people may say it's an advantage, but I see it as a disadvantage because now this team is gotten lax. They've gotten relaxed. They had 10 days of no real scrimmage or no NBA type of playing basketball. 10 days. And anybody who knows or anybody who plays basketball, you got to stay in some kind of rhythm. 10 days of not playing basketball for somebody who's supposed to play every day or somebody who plays every day, that can throw you off. That can throw you off a little bit. You might come back a little rusty. For that day one. So that and when you look at the Toronto Raptors, they just came off a fresh series. They haven't had as much time to rest. So they're still kind of in motion. They still got that pep in their step. But the Warriors, they done had time to sit down on the couch a little bit, watch a movie or two. They done had time to relax. For sure. And during this time of the finals, I know I jumped around a little bit. But I want to key in on why I don't need Boogie. Why I want Boogie Cousins and Kevin Durant both to come back healthy. I want Warriors at their full strength when Kawhi Leonard beats them. I want them at their full strength. Kawhi Leonard was supposed to beat the Warriors in 2014 before he got injured with the Zaza Pachulia thing. He was in complete control. I know it was only one game, but what Kawhi was doing to those boys was lethal. And I hope it happens again. I do think the Warriors are going to come out and double team him to probably slow all of that stuff down because they know how much of a beast he is. But ultimately, I don't know. That's tough. That's a tough situation. But if Warriors are at their full strength, they're tighten up. They're going to tighten up. When it's just Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond, everybody loved how they play. It was a discussion of if they're better without Kevin Durant because the team plays so freely. That was the difference. They played free. You seen Stephen Curry get off. You seen him step back up into that lead role that he attained when he first, started becoming a big name around the NBA. You seen him step back up into that position, and he started going nuts. But when Kevin Durant is there, there's a little more ISO ball. The team isn't as free as they usually are. It's a little more ISO ball. They go back and forth a little bit when they play on their offensive game. They switch from ISO to team and things like that. Run a few plays, stuff like that. But with Boogie Cousins there, now this team has to readjust to something they did halfway through the season and try and go back to that game plan that did not work. With Boogie Cousins, we've seen this team succeed with Kevin Durant. We've seen this team succeed without Kevin Durant. Now they have Boogie Cousins. If he's there in the finals, this team is constantly making adjustments to game 1, game 2, game 3, game 4, game 5, game 6, and game 7. They're constantly making adjustments if Boogie Cousins comes back because now they have to fit in a role for him to feel comfortable again. Not only for him, but for everybody else to feel comfortable. Now you got people who respect his game. Because this part takes you a long way. You got people who respect his game. So they're more willing to give up the ball instead of shooting an open jumper. They're more willing to let him do some work down there in the paint. But that's not the way the Warriors, that's not the Warriors we fell in love with. That's not the Warriors we fell in love with. So that kind of changes their game plan. And when you're doing a lot of changes against the Toronto Raptors, who's a lethal team, it can get messy. It can possibly get messy. I watched Toronto Raptors. I watched them make adjustments after losing and stay consistent within their game plan of how they can win a game. I watched them do that over and over throughout multiple series. With Philly, they made adjustments, stayed consistent, ended up winning the series. Some people may say it was lucky, but either way it goes, they got it done. It don't matter. Against the Bucks, they lost the first 2 games, found a way to win game 3, and then came back and just continued to win and got it over with. Kawhi Leonard has been playing phenomenal, but one thing I think people don't realize too is that he puts fear in his opponents, and he does this without even trying. I think Kawhi Leonard does this without even trying to put fear in his opponents. It's just his entire. I mean, like, look, think about it. With Kobe, it was his mentality. With Jordan, it was his mentality that they were just going to kill you and bury you until, like, you just did not have any more. Like, they was just going to run you through the dirt over and over and just continue to just bury you. That was their mentality, and they wasn't going to let up. But Kawhi is a little different because he doesn't say much. Jordan and Kobe was cocky. Yeah, they didn't show it all the time. Maybe Jordan a little more than Kobe, but I mean, both of them, you could tell both of them were they were cocky. Both of them were cocky. They knew they were the best players in the game. Kawhi Leonard, he pays no attention to this. He pays no attention to this. Just when you think you have him figured out, that's when he comes back and shows you that you does not have him figured out. He's silent with everything. Silent with everything. Does not care if he's considered the best player in the league. Does not care if people compare him to Jordan. He doesn't care about none of that stuff. And he's a silent killer. People know that he can kill you on the defensive end. He can kill you on the offensive end. And his focus is laser all the time, every single time. He's consistent. He's gonna give you the same thing or better every night. He's consistent. He's gonna play basketball. Make sure his team is doing what they need to do. We don't really see that part, but in interviews that I've heard from coaching staff and other players, he's a silent leader. Leads by example. Doing his thing on the court. Gonna make sure everything gets done and do whatever he has to do to win. I don't know if you know. It was a clip. It was a clip that surfaced. It surfaced pretty recently. You can look it up. But it was with LeBron James in the 2014 NBA Finals with Kawhi Leonard. And LeBron, some people who've seen it may know what I'm talking about. But LeBron, he was at the free throw line and he was shooting free throws. He shot his first free throw. I don't know if he made it or missed. They didn't really show that part. The camera was just focusing on LeBron throughout the whole clip. So as LeBron was shooting a free throw, I don't know if he made it or missed, but the buzzer sounded. He looked at the scores table, seen Kawhi Leonard, and you seen a big damn at his face. He even said it. He was like, damn, shaking his head. You seen he got a little frustrated that Kawhi Leonard was coming back into the game. Stuff like that. That's small stuff that shows like players don't want to go against him. Players are a little like, they don't want to go against Kawhi Leonard. They don't want to go against him. I don't know if Kawhi Leonard talked trash when he played, but the way it looks like he doesn't say a word if it's not to his teammate about winning on the sideline. I don't know. But even then, even if that's not enough for you, Steve Kerr, he recently, this just came out actually. Steve Kerr recently just went to have dinner with Greg Popovich, the person who helped create this beast from the East that everybody is trying to take down. He recently, and then when they asked him about it, he said, well, we were just eating as friends. Like, come on, man. You're not eating with the person who coached Kawhi Leonard for multiple years and helped him develop his game to a point where it's unstoppable. You're not just going to go out to dinner with him a day before the finals or a week before the finals. Like, come on, man. Get out of here with that, man. You're right. You're right, Steve Kerr. I doubt that was really the case. You trying to find a way to stop Kawhi Leonard. And nothing is wrong with that. I'm just saying he gets people worried. He gets people worried. And I really believe he puts fear in some of his opponents. Because they know that he is so fundamentally sound, he's laser focused, and he can kill you on the offensive, defensive end, and he's going to give you everything he's got. He's going to play hard. He's going to play hard until he can't no more. In terms of the series, I have the Raptors winning in 7 games. I have the Toronto Raptors winning in 7 games. I hope it gets done. I actually doubted the Raptors a lot during this postseason. But I'm going with the Toronto Raptors to get it done. This series in the NBA Finals against the Golden State Warriors. I hope the Warriors are at their full strength, so there's no excuses when Kawhi Leonard takes them down. And yeah, I have the Raptors in 7 games. Take your fitness to new heights and get fit with Jazz. Join in on exciting workout classes and side-by-side personal training with fitness instructor Jasmine Brown. For only $45, you can receive a 21-day jumpstart plan and a standard nutritional guide for weight loss. It takes 21 days to make a habit. Why not make yours a good one? Want the killer abs you always wanted? Try the 30-day belly blast for only $30. This 30-day challenge is designed to blast away that unwanted belly fat while targeting your lower and upper abs and total core for only 30 minutes of your day. Just 30 minutes. To see results, visit JasmineB_fit on Instagram or visit getfitwithjazz.com. Join now and take your fitness to new heights at getfitwithjazz.com.